So this week's tutorial is on a Mord Fustang song. We're going to focus on the lead synth he uses in the air. So, like always, we're going to start with a combinator, and we're going to create a 4 synthesizer in here. Just right click and initialize the patch, and then you're going to want to click Show Programmer. Now we're going to use 3 oscillators today, all of which are analog. So just make another 2 analog oscillators there. For the first oscillator, we're going to saw octave at 4. We're going to turn the tune down to -16. And we're going to leave it at that. Oscillator 2, we're going to touch the octave up to 5, leave it saw, and that's that. And then for octave 3, we're going to turn the octave up to 6 and leave it at that. We'll also turn on these 2 buttons here to allow these 2 oscillators to go to filter 1 as well. So move on to the mixer. You're going to want the oscillator 1 and 2 balance set to 72, sorry. And you're going to want to bring the level of 3 down to -8.1 decibels. And then turn the shaper on, leave it soft clip, and bring the amount down to 24. And that's that. So we're going to leave it as a low pass ladder filter. But you're going to want to turn the frequency all the way up, and the resonance you're going to want at 8. And you're also going to want to change the type to 6. Bring the envelope down to 0, velocity up to 127, and that's that. So final thing we're actually going to do for the synth part is alter these parameters here for the amp envelope. So for the attack, you're going to want to bring it up slightly to -17.4 milliseconds. The decay and the sustain you're going to want all the way up, and the release you're going to want to touch up a bit to 23.5 milliseconds. That's your synth. So now we're going to create an EQ. Let's go to Effects, M-Class, Equalizer. Now we're going to choose Param 1, Param 2, and the high shelf, so go and turn them on. For Param 1, you're going to want the frequency at 247. 247.6. The gain you're going to want to bring up, let's pull it down accidentally, bring the gain up to 7.4 decibels. And the Q you're going to want to bring down to 1.5. For Param 2, you're going to want it at 1.079. And the gain bring up slightly to 2.9 decibels. The Q at 7.1. And then finally for the high shelf, you're going to want at 3.063 Hz. So bring that down. The gain you're going to want to bring up to 6.9 decibels. And for the Q you're going to want at 0.86. Okay, now we're going to create an M-Class compressor. For the input gain, you're going to want to bring up slightly to 1.1 decibels. The threshold, you're going to want to touch up, bring down slightly to -18.7 decibels. And then for the ratio, you're going to want at 10.1 over 1. And then the attack you're going to want to bring down slightly to 25 milliseconds. and then for the release you're going to want this down to 50, and that's that for the compressor. It smooths out the sound slightly. We're going to then create a M-Class maximizer. Make sure the limiter is turned on, the 4 millisecond look ahead turned on as well, so you don't get any clipping, and also turn on the soft clip. So for the input you're going to want at 3.4 decibels. The attack you're going to want at mid, and leave the release at 4. And leave that at 64 as well. So next up we're going to create a stereo imager to widen the sound. So bring the low band down to mono, and then the crossover you're going to want to bring down to 552. So everything below 552 Hz in the frequency spectrum is going to be coming out in mono, and then everything else you're going to want at wide. And that's that. You can see the individual parts if you click this button, but leave that on normal. Then we're going to create a unison unit. Set the voice count to 4, the detune at 24, and the dry wet amount you're going to want at 41. And this just kind of widens the sound a bit, thickens it up. You can experiment a bit with that if you want. And then we're going to create a RV7 digital reverb unit as well, just to add a bit of depth. You're going to want the algorithm on medium room. The size you're going to want at -38. The decay you're going to want at -20. The damp you're going to want at 49. And the dry wet balance bring down to 20. And then now we're going to create 2 Scream 4 distortions. So start with the first one. You're going to want the first one to be set to the tape algorithm, and the damage control you're going to want to bring down to 38. Also you're going to want to put the master up full, because we're bringing this down. This master brings up the level a bit. Turn off the body and turn off the cut, we're not going to be using them. Param 1 set to 127, and param 2 you bring down slightly to 36. And that's us for the first unit. Go ahead and create another one. You're going to want to set this one to overdrive and bring the damage control down to 24. And then again you're going to want this master level up to 127. Turn the body off again. Param 1 at 127 and param 2 this time at 36. Actually it's the same as the first one, so both at 36. And then we're actually going to use this EQ just to boost a couple of levels here. So set the high to 17. The mid you're going to want at 25. And the low you're going to want at 20. And there you have it. Mord Fustang's lead synth in his song In the Air. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my channel if you haven't done so already, and subscribe. And also I'll put links to my where you can listen to my own music in the description as well. So cheers, see ya.